Hi, I'm Debbie Simoes. As a former teacher myself, the best part of my job here at Wayside Publishing is talking with educators like you and helping you find winning solutions for your language classroom. One of the things that drew me to Wayside was that I noticed their programs were different. They have that something more that teachers are always in search of. My goal today is to give you a glimpse into that something more in Triángulo APreciado so you can consider how it might be a game changer for your AP Language and Culture class. As you know, the AP Language and Culture exam has evolved to be more aligned with proficiency, and that makes it possible to empower students to excel on the exam and become more proficient. Triángulo APreciado is a tool that will allow you to accomplish both. It has a fresh, unique design. It's a curriculum solution that weaves together the AP language and culture expectations with the world readiness standards. It incorporates the can-do statements and teaches 21st century skills through research-based instructional strategies identified in the ACTFL core practices. And this empowers you to achieve those course expectations with excellence. The course is designed to be more than just test prep, and Triángulo APreciado is your resource to teach it as such. Wayside's commitment to proficiency and interculturality through authentic, inclusive learning experiences is evident on every page of every program we create and in our unparalleled professional development. Our programs are distinctive not just because they equip students with a lifelong skill, but they empower all students and teachers to reach their highest potential. Regardless of where you are on your professional path to proficiency, our materials will encourage you to grow in your ability to facilitate language acquisition, interculturality, and build critical thinking skills and cross-curricular connections, so your students are positioned to ace that exam and excel as global citizens. Let's take a look at how we make the magic happen. Each chapter exposes students to the 3 Ps through inquiry and exploration of relevant topics: el smartphone, la mochila, el pan, la diversidad, y la vida feliz. These are taught within the context of global themes and sub-themes that are outlined by the AP exam, and they're masterfully intertwined just as they are on the exam. So learners have ample opportunities to explore the themes from different vantage points and experience a rich, multi-layered study of language and culture in authentic and engaging ways. In this way, they make meaningful comparisons and connections to cultural practices and perspectives as they relate to a particular cultural product or value. Although our students do learn about culture, one of the distinguishing features of Triángulo APreciado is that it goes beyond that to help students develop new perspectives that are gleaned from engaging with authentic language and interacting in culturally appropriate ways as they wrestle with real-world tasks. The themes serve as a springboard to contextualize the standards, the 5 Cs, through the 3 modes of communication: interpretive, interpersonal, and presentational, so students can develop deeper understandings of themselves, they can explore communities, their own and others, and engage with the world. These powerful learning experiences intentionally cultivate interculturality, or that little I in the center of this graphic. And the process for developing interculturality is intertwined with the process to build proficiency. Proficiency that's both communicative and intercultural, the building blocks of global competency. Students' journey through each topic moves them from personal connections to community impact to global intercultural perspectives. The unit goals reflect this approach by building on communicative skills within the context of the theme, themes that will definitely spark learner interest. Notice the Grammatica section identifies the language functions that students will practice. In addition to the unit goals, other learning targets are introduced at the beginning of the chapter. The preguntas esenciales set the tone for each of the three conexiones, that progression from personal to intercultural perspectives. A list of AP themes and sub-themes support an integrated approach to each topic that's very logical, natural, organic, if you will. The Mi Progreso Comunicativo can-do statements focus the learners on what they will be able to do in the language, and the Mi Progreso Intercultural focuses on interculturality in alignment with the newly revised Necessful Actful can-do statements. The three conexiones in each chapter offer consistency in terms of structure. That's a feature that we know supports learners. To begin, one of the three preguntas esenciales is highlighted with the title of each conexión. The main sections of each conexión are indicated by the orange font, and note that they are similar to a KWL chart, starting, of course, with ¿Qué sabes? For the no. Vocabulary is introduced in several ways in Triángulo APreciado. First, we have 10 words that will assist learners in the initial discussions. Vocabulary is introduced in Spanish definitions, and additional practice is provided in the Explorer course on the Learning site. Within each of these sections, there's a variety of interpretive, interpersonal, and presentational tasks to prompt learner discussion around those essential questions. Now, some of the activities mimic those that the students will encounter on the AP exam, such as this simulated conversation. And you'll have icons that guide you in knowing what type of task to expect and if resources appear on the Explorer course online. When you see the letters AP, for example, this lets you know that the task provides additional AP exam practice. Moving right along to the W in our KWL analogy, we dive deeper into the topic and introduce additional vocabulary. One of the many ways that Triángulo APreciado sets students up for success is by cultivating language learning strategies like this one. Practice with vocabulary is provided in both the text and online in the Explorer course, and it's vocabulary that comes directly from the authentic resources themselves. Within each conexión, there's a section called Aprecias la cultura hispanohablante, and this further focuses on the topic from an intercultural perspective. In this example, we take a look at the importance of la mochila, or la tutu, to the Arhuaco indigenous population of northern Colombia. Remember that the text can also be audio or video, and this activity provides learners with the opportunity to hone their listening skills. In the ¿Qué aprendiste section, learners process what they learned from the audio. The questions here are designed to prepare students for the AP exam, as they're predominantly assessing the interpretive mode. Practice with these questions provides students with experience with the question types. Each conexión concludes with a presenta section. The El Enfoque question frames a brief but transformational mini project that allows students to analyze, synthesize, and apply linguistic, intercultural, and interdisciplinary concepts using all three modes of communication. They'll start with an interpretive task. In this example, it's a reading. Then they move into an interpersonal activity where they discuss and organize their ideas. And finally, a presentation. So this presenta section is a mini IPA, Integrated Performance Assessment. This allows you and the students to gauge learning and inform instruction. In Triángulo APreciado, you'll find that most of the tasks are open-ended and thereby meeting those UDL guidelines for providing multiple means of engagement, multiple means of representation, and multiple means of action and expression in both the print and the digital formats. The conexión ends with atando cabos sueltos. In this example, learners engage in a simulated conversation and they update their progress in realizing the can-do statements, those mi progreso comunicativo y intercultural. You might be wondering, what about grammar? Don't worry. After the three conexiones, each chapter provides a grammar concept, one that learners at this proficiency level still need to review. Language structures are introduced and practiced in a discovery co-constructive approach with guidance provided by the text and also an extensive contextualized practice on the learning site. The chapter concludes with a full integrated performance assessment. It begins with a prompt and a review of the three essential questions. In this IPA, learners will present a picture of a young lady from Peru based on various mochilas that she's had over the years. The interpretive task is to observe the contents of the mochila and take notes to start to shape the narrative of who she is. In the interpersonal task, they have the opportunity to share ideas with classmates. And in the presentational task, they give an oral presentation on who the young lady is. Note that we provide a summary of each conexión to remind learners of what they have discussed throughout the chapter. Now, of course, there are plenty of resources for the IPA provided on the learning site as well. Now, what kinds of things do we have for teachers? My favorite is the Instructional Strategies Toolkit, which you'll find on the toolbar when you log into the learning site. This has a phenomenal filtering system that makes it easy for you to find the perfect strategy to achieve what you're hoping to accomplish in any of your lessons. The unit goals, essential questions, and can-do statements are all spelled out for you for both the communicative and the intercultural targets. Performance rubrics are aligned to the AP exam for all the IPAs. Extensive notes and suggestions for you. And there's multiple practice opportunities for each section of the AP exam that are all aligned with the unit themes and sub-themes. For the students, we have abundant interactive explore-only activities, including the vocabulary progression tool that offer immediate feedback at the question level, not when the students are done and click submit. We have rigorous and extensive practice, extra practice that's beyond the book, and again, that's on Explore. There's one language structure, focus per each chapter using that co-constructive approach with examples and scaffolded practice in context. Also, some Explore-only quizzes. The communication activities are scaffolded and sequenced very carefully to allow students to advance their proficiency in all modes of communication while preparing for that exam. The inclusive, performance-based instruction and assessments are grounded in UDL and backwards design. These provide clarity, purpose, and promote self-directed learning and success for all. The AP exam instructions and the scoring guide are right on the learning site, so students don't need to go to the AP Central site for information. And finally, we have the proficiency trackers and the Me Portfolio that help students track their progress and monitor, set goals, document. This is a place where they really take ownership and invest in their own learning. Wayside offers a robust online learning and course management system that we call the Learning Site. This connects students and teachers to a plethora of digital resources and to one another. It's made up of 3 components that flow seamlessly, one to the other. The Flex Text is our interactive ebook, and it's identical to the print edition. The green compass icon indicates that that particular activity has more resources available on Explorer, which is the second component of our learning site. This is the heart of the online environment, where the student roster, the grade book, all the digital content and assignments, all of those extra practice activities that are in our print workbook are housed here on Explorer at no additional cost. This is our classroom forum feature. It's a chat room that makes creating a virtual classroom community simple and effective. And of course, we have an impressive array of resources for you. The vocabulary progression activities are part of the Explorer course, and these provide personalized practice with all the language skills using Bloom's taxonomy as a teaching tool and a framework. Students gain proficiency and they receive more comprehensible input as they move through the progression. This tool lets students practice at their own pace in all 3 modes of communication. They get immediate feedback and practice their pronunciation. Students self-assess their progress towards proficiency targets as they move from simple vocabulary activities to more difficult ones. Over the course of the module, learners reflect on what they can do with the language, and they select their appropriate proficiency benchmarks. The vocabulary progression tool has options and it's customizable, but let's take a look at an example. In the first step, students listen to a word or possibly a definition in a sentence using the word, and they match what they hear to a picture. They can also record their pronunciation.
Los adornos. La ornamentación. Algo usado para decorar.
Next, in step 2, after listening to a word or a definition, they choose the sentence that best matches it.
Los adornos. Los adornos.
The audio in the third step contains a sentence, and students have to find the picture that best matches it.
¿Quieres llamar la atención?
In the fourth step, students listen to a sentence and fill in the blank.
El joven pone logotipos de sus equipos favoritos en su mochila.
The fifth step gives students the opportunity to write an open response description.
El joven pone logotipos de sus equipos favoritos en su mochila.
And finally, in the sixth step, students select the appropriate proficiency level from the rubric, and they write about their developing language skills. The vocabulary progression tool gives real-time data on individual and group progress to guide your instruction. This connects learning to assessment and helps you guide students towards growth in language and proficiency. The Me Portfolio is an online language portfolio where students can self-assess and they can document their progress towards meeting those can-do statements and set goals for increasing their levels of performance. So I'd like to invite you to dive in yourself and explore the learning site so that you can discover the Wayside difference. If you don't already have an account, let us know and we'll set one up for you. If you feel like Triángulo APreciado might take your students or even yourself out of your comfort zone, good. Let that be the impetus to dive deeper and be open to a new opportunity for growth. This program represents a break in tradition, a new approach, but it's one that's based on the entire body of research on language acquisition and intercultural competency that's embraced by the College Board and ACTFL, and also the general education research and best practices and 21st century skills. So you can step out in confidence. I know we've all been dragged out of our comfort zones by this pandemic, and that's probably brought on a mix of paralyzing anxiety and productive discomfort that could have you feeling even more in love with your comfort zone than usual. But I want to remind you that your success rate for surviving difficulty so far is 100%. So I encourage you to break up with your comfort zone and step out, push past that fear zone and experience the exhilaration of authentic learning that goes beyond a grade or a test score for students or an observation for you. As a former principal, I set this expectation for my teachers. Choose materials that are forward-thinking and will not just optimize learning outcomes for students, but for you as well. In order for students to thrive, we as teachers need to thrive. So choose resources that give you room to grow. Wayside is positioned to be a powerful partner, supporting you to achieve your mission as a world language teacher to promote bilingualism, biliteracy, and cultural competency and empower the next generation of global citizens. Triángulo APreciado affords students a dynamic and inspiring learning experience in which they're continually applying and developing their linguistic and intercultural understandings within real-world situations, exactly like those they'll encounter on the AP Language and Culture exam, and of course, out in the real world. Thank you so much for your time and interest today, and especially for your hard work on behalf of students, our future. I've got to get growing now. I'll see you out in the learning zone or out in the growth zone. Bye-bye.